Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third video. We're going to have a look at the weather for next week to 10 days. For today's third video, day 10 will take us to around the 13th of February. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at the CFS B2 at the end of the video for March. And that's going to be coming up at the end of the vid. Just to say that the first video today was the 6 AM upload. We've also released January Friday, so check out those two if you'd like to do that. No Friday night live stream tonight. I'm a lot better with the tooth and the abscess, but I'm still feeling a little bit off colour. I'm not 100%. So I'm going to have a quiet Friday night, I think, this week. Hopefully all the live streams will be back to normal next week. Please like, share, subscribe on the videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. We only need to put on around 25, 23, 24 subscribers now to get ourselves to 15.5k. We are very, very close, 15.5k. Please give us a sub, tell friends and family to subscribe. And thank you so very much, everybody, for doing that. Right, we're going to start off with stratospheric development. So this our temperature is currently looking at 10 HPA in the stratosphere over North Pole via the JMA. So I had a little tick up over the last 24 hours. I've said earlier in the week we're likely to get to around minus 25, something like that. We are very close to that now with the temperature, or it was yesterday, with the temperature at 10 HPA. That's about as high as it's going to get for this warming. Probably starts to drop back again over the next few days. However, into the middle and second half of February, that may lift up once more. Hold on for more about that. We are above average. Average, of course, is a grey line, so we are now above average at 10 HPA in the stratosphere via this minor stratospheric warming. Go a little bit low down to 30 HPA. There, cooling has taken place, so we did manage to get to around minus 47, something like that. We are now back close to average, near to minus 17. Having looked at the latest 2 GFS temperature forecast, so this is the midnight GFS run, we see that we have got a displacement event of the stratospheric polar vortex, the blue colours pushed out of the pole down into the North Atlantic and Northern Europe, with the bright yellow colours here over the top of the North Pole, taking the temperature into the minus 30s and just into the upper minus 20s and whatnot. Well, let's run through and see what happens. So that blue area, the stratospheric polar vortex, tries to get back to the pole, but always we have these brighter colours fighting against it. So the displacement event goes on, even though the warming kind of fades out over the next week. However, as we move up towards the middle part of February, a renewed warming of stratosphere taking place over Siberia, and that pushing on into the North Pole as well. Not much sign of the stratospheric polar vortex by the time you get through to the 19th of February on that GFS midnight run. Moving through to the 6th there, this is how it's looking. Again, much of a muchness for the next week or so. The displacement event of the polar vortex continues as we head on into the extended. Again, we find that we get this warming, next warming occurring around the middle part of February over Siberia and moving on towards North Pole. Well, displacement event of the polar vortex, maybe into a bit of a split going on there. Could be starting to split. It could be by the time you get through to the 19th of February. So the GFS ensembles are forecasting, a lot of them are forecasting a reversal of solar winds in the middle and second half of February. So where we are right now, just here, we have had a little bit of a bounce back in the solar winds at 10 HPA in the stratosphere over the past few days. That carries on for the next 5 days or so, and then weakening taking place. Remember, the zero line tells us which ensemble members are going for a reversal of solar winds, and we see quite a lot of them now sending solar winds into reverse. Some of them, one or two anyway, going for a very strong reversal, going down to around minus 20. They're outliers, but many of those GFS ensemble members now, I think, are sending solar winds into reverse. When that happens, we can say that we have had a genuine sudden stratospheric warming SSW, the gold standard to be able to say that you have had a genuine SSW is to send the zone wind into reverse. Now, that's all from the GFS, so I know there's going to be a lot of people dubious about that. Let's have a look at the latest ECM extended forecast. So look at the temperature anomaly for 10 HPA for the next 6 weeks first of all. Again, this is the current warming taking place next week, 6th to 13th of February. You know, it is there, bring the displacement event of the polar vortex with those blue curves. That carries on into the North Atlantic and Northern Europe. Look at week 2. Warming intensifying quite widely across much of the Arctic and the North Pole. Displacement event carries on, but displacing even further southwards with the stratospheric polar vortex going down into like southern Europe and into the North Atlantic as well. We can't these are anomalies to average. We can't necessarily say that is a southern stratospheric warming, but obviously it is a significant one that's going on there in week 2 from the 13th, 20th of February. Week 3 looks like that pretty much gone by that point with the stratospheric polar vortex. Not much sign of it at all. Warming maintained over the Arctic and the North Pole. That does look suspiciously light. It could be an SSW. Week 4, the warming is still there, shrinking a little bit. And week 5 and week 6 takes that and shrinks it a little bit more. You know, we can't maintain those temperatures at 10 HPA in the stratosphere indefinitely, but that does look a little bit indicative of an SSW. This is the latest zone of wind forecast for 10 HPA from the ECM extended. Starting off with stronger than average zone of winds at the moment. This red line here is the average, of course. But a real drop in the zone of wind is expected as we go through the second half of February. Dates on the bottom of the chart, of course. The ensemble mean, which is this thicker blue line just here, is getting very close to reversal zone of wind. Many ensemble members are going for a reversal of zone of winds, sending zone of winds into reverse into the second half of February. How that compares to the last ECX ending on the 30th of January, that's how it looked. So, you know, I think we can see that from the update on Monday night to the update on Thursday night, we've got many more ensemble members now sending zone winds into reverse and doing so quicker on the latest update from last night, from Thursday night, compared to Monday night's update. So it could well be that second half of February is going to get a genuine SSW going and send the zone wind into reverse, maybe split vortex. We'll have to wait and see about that. And of course, the impacts of this are more likely to be felt in March and into the spring than the winter, as this is happening later on in February. So there's normally a 2 to 3 week delay before a tropospheric response is noted. So we'll have to wait and see. You don't always get a tropospheric response. Sometimes you don't get a response in the troposphere, and not every SSW leads to cold weather either, of course. But we might be shaping up for some quite cold weather in the early part of the spring, through March, possibly into April. We'll have to wait and see. And of course, we'll keep you updated. We'll keep monitoring about all of this at GavsWeatherVids. Right, central temperature updated to the 2nd of February, standing at 8 degrees, 4.2 degrees above average. Exceptionally mild. That'll probably take up a bit more today. It's a really mild day today. They'll probably hold steady by the beginning of next week. That should start edging down as we will start getting some overnight frost and fog. Gruesome to some. Could be on the way. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. On at Skegness today, so the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Skeggy, starting off above average with those upper air temperatures at the moment. They're going to drop a little bit over weekend into the earlier part of next week, lifting up and then close to average. We still have a few ensemble members that are going cold into the second week of February, but basically that cold easterly blast at the GFS and its ensembles were playing around with a couple of days ago. It has been eradicated, and now we're just looking, close to average with the upper air temperatures, average a little bit above average. However, that does not tell you everything, because high pressure is going to be dominating the scene, which means we are, particularly in the south, actually, more so in the south of the north, we are likely to get an inversion, and that is likely to bring overnight frost and fog and that sort of thing. Also looking very dry over the next week to 10 days. No, not much rainfall until we get to the middle of February, and even then, there's not a lot. That is a very dry ensemble. Temperature anomalies from the 3rd to the 11th of February are going to be a little bit colder than average, particularly so for England and Wales. That's due to frost and fog more than daytime temperatures, because if the fog lingers, remember daytimes will be cold as well. Our precipitation anomalies from the 3rd to 11th of February going to be drier than normal. Latest wind map from earth.nullschool.net shows we've got high pressure sitting just to our south today over northern France, and we're pulling in a very mild west to southwesterly wind. Right, so this is how you can make your right from keep on midnight on Monday. High pressure right over top of the country will bring lots of dry and fine weather, but there could be overnight frost and fog, especially so for England and Wales. Well, system coming in off Atlantic around the middle part of next week will stir things up a little bit, bring a bit of rain, but we're soon back to high pressure again by the end of next week. Always coldest in the south with this, always mildest up in the north. Icon again showing high pressure in control through Tuesday into Monday. On Monday, I should say, into Tuesday, Wednesday, high pressure still dominating. However, a little bit of weather system into the far northwest Scotland could bring some showery rain there, but basically we are high and dry through the middle of next week, and this high pressure fest goes on right way to this time next week, which gets us to Friday, 10th of February. High pressure dominates, mild for Scotland and Northern Ireland with winds in from the southwest, but probably quite cold for mild for Scotland and Northern Ireland with winds in from the west-southwest, but probably quite cold for England and Wales with risk of overnight frost and fog there. How cold it is, you have to wait and see. GFS midnight run, for what it's worth, showing, did you enjoy my rant yesterday about GFS? I don't know, I went off on a tangent, but I was in the mood to have a rant after the pain I've been in this week, with my two. Right, so anyway, the GFS midnight run, high pressure dominates midnight on Monday, loads of dry weather, that could be quite cold across the fog. High pressure dominates still into middle next week. Still bringing a little bit more of an easterly compared to all of the other models by the middle of next week, you'll notice. It isn't anything like the easterly it was shown a few days ago, which brings a bitterly cold air out of Siberia. But still, nevertheless, more of an easterly flow with the GFS midnight run would lead to more widespread frost fog, less southwesterly winds for Scotland, Northern Ireland, so all places looking quite frosty there for the middle of next week. And that really carries on into the second half next week, about this area of low pressure starts drifting up from the south, could bring a little bit of rain towards more southern and southwestern areas. And then heading up toward day 10, it's going to be a no man's land between the high pressure to the east, low pressure to the west. So I'd imagine there could be a lot of murk with that, probably quite a lot of fog and that. And then into my extended range turns quite unsettled, tries to, low pressure, attempting to get in from off the Atlantic, bring rain into the west. High pressure to our east, winds up from the south, so technically mild, but probably feeling quite cold with the air coming in from off the continent, rather cold and damp, I think, through the third week of February, I guess, to the 19th of Feb. GFS sits there. Again, the high pressure is in control of the weather on Monday. And lots of frost and fog and whatnot. Probably into the middle of next week, high pressure still dominating the weather. And high pressure more strongly into the second half of next week as well. So this is Saturday the 11th of February. Much less influence from that area of low pressure south. That's sort of stuck over Biscay. And which is basically still cold and dry there, I think, under that area of high pressure. And the high pressure dominates all the way up to day 10 with the GFS 6. I think this looks more plausible than the midnight scenario. Now, lots of frosty nights to come with that. So by that point, by day 10, 13th of February, I would imagine by that point, the central temperature will probably be back down close to average, and the mild start will have been eradicated by a succession of cold and frosty nights into more extended range. the GFS 6Z trying to move low pressure in from off Atlantic, also trying to raise pressure up towards Scandinavia again. Least said about that, the better. We finish up on the 19th February looking like that. Bit of Mid-Atlantic ridge and trying to bring down some colder air from the north. All looking rather messy, but certainly not overly mild. If you enjoyed the video, can you please like, share, subscribe, and thank you everybody for doing that. And drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all about videos. Thank you so very much, everybody, for doing that. Just around 23, 24 subscribers. You're going to get us to 15.5k. So if you can, give us a sub and tell friends and family to subscribe. It'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody. Excuse me for doing this for us. GM with, oh dear, with high pressure. It's coughing again. High pressure. Dominating on Monday. Likely to become frosty early and late. High pressure remains in control for England and Wales through to the second half of next week. Plenty more frosty nights to come there. Milder for Scotland and Northern Ireland, winds in from the southwest. And the high pressure doesn't really go anywhere all the way up to day 10. So further frosty nights, I think, for England and Wales, always a little bit milder for Scotland and also for Northern Ireland. And then the ECM, again, that big area of high pressure and control of the weather on Monday. High pressure carries on, really dominates weather through much of next week. Weather system going to the northwest around middle next week, bringing some cloud, rain, milder temperatures there. Probably still cold and frosty though for the south and southeast. And the high pressure sort of rebuilds actually as we head up towards day 10, probably returning us to overnight frost as we go into the weekend of the 11th of 12th of February. By day 10, trying to get a bit milder and western windier for Scotland and Northern Ireland, but plenty of high pressure further south again. The suggestion there would be for overnight frost and fog with that area of high pressure. This will be precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from TibetShow.com. It's not going to be much to see here with so much high pressure in control. Just some wet weather around the middle of next week in the northwest, but basically high pressure keeps all of the rain at bay. And these are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. From the Icelandic Met Office gets us to the 13th of February. 21 members of the ECM ensembles trying to move a low pressure in from off the Atlantic. So they're turning a little bit more unsettled and rather milder by day 10. We've got 18, including the operational run with high pressure centred over and to the east of the country, coming in from off the continent. So mainly dry and quite chilly with that. And then 12 with high pressure. Again, just over and slightly to the south-southeast, low pressure way to the northwest, so mainly dry there, and milder for the north and for the west, but for the south, probably quite cold with overnight frost and fog. And then in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. It will get us to the 18th of February, 23 members of the ECM ensembles then with low pressure right over top of the country, so it'll be very unsettled, of course. Not overly mild with that. High pressure is pulling out into the Atlantic, so we're probably going on to the cold side of the jet stream, so just rather cool and unsettled with that. The 17 weakening the high pressure, but still there, just to our south and southeast, will still be bringing frost and fog to the south and southeast. However, I think the low pressure to our north and west is sort of breaking the ridge down. And then we've got 11 with low pressure to our east. High pressure trying to reach towards Greenland, and winds are having a go getting into the north there as we get to the 18th of February. You know, maybe the last 10 days of the month will go colder from the north. Who knows? Finally, CFS V2. So this is the 700 millibar height anomaly forecast from the CFS. Let's just zoom in a little bit. This would be 700 millibar height anomaly forecast from the CFS for March. This is the latest. Looking very different to anything we've had this winter, maybe except for the first 2 weeks of December, with large areas of northern blocking around Greenland and low pressure underneath it. So we're not all that far away from a cold March there. Winds coming in from an east or a northeasterly direction potentially. I wonder how much influence any potential southern stratospheric warming late in February could be having on this. who knows, but certainly signs of significant levels of blocking there within the high latitudes for March would suggest the chance of a delayed spring. The temperature anomaly is no better than average. No sign of a particularly mild bump. Notice much of North America is plunged into the freezer during March. Not much sign of a mild month anyway. And precipitation-wise, there's no particular signal there with that. So it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen what's going to happen. And all will be revealed, of course. But if we do get an SSW, you know, late on in February, then it is possible we could come away with a cold March, maybe even a cold April and a delayed spring. So, not sure that's what people want, but it might be what we get. We shall see, time will tell. Right, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, then please give you a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. And thank you so very much, everybody, for doing that. Right, that's it for today's content then. As I say, no Friday night live stream tonight. I'm just still feeling a little bit too delicate with the tooth and that, and just not feeling 100%. So I'm going to have a quiet Friday night. I will still be live streaming for channel members, by the way. So if you're a channel member, you're around the channel at 7 PM, then we'll have a nice chill, get together for an hour or so. But as far as like doing a Friday night live stream with Giddy Gav is concerned, then I think for this week we'll knock it on the head, and hopefully we'll have all of the live streams back to normal next week. I'll tell you what's coming up tomorrow. So we're going to have 6 AM upload. We'll have weekend forecast. We're going to try and get the ECM WF 42-day forecast done. And there'll be a 10 to 14 day as well. So keep checking back to the channel for more. For today's videos, though, that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching and enjoy the rest of your Friday. Bye for now.